Greetings, Elder Blacklight. Now this video, we're going to go in on trying to unite all of our people together to fight the power. Now the Moors they are fragmentized also. Many different approaches to fight the problem, just like in the Nation of Islam, fragmentized. So we go by what our leaders, the strategy that we think the leaders are going to use. But the leaders are not interested in winning. They simply are in it for a paycheck. I'm going to show you something, then I'm going to comment later.
May not have heard of the Moorish Nationals, but police have members claim to follow Moorish science. It comes from a black religious group that's been around for nearly a century. Most of its members obey the law, but not everyone. Chip Reed looks at how some use their religion to justify the crime.
This 35,000 square foot mansion in an exclusive corner of Bethesda, Maryland, has 12 bedrooms, 17 bathrooms, and trees planted by President Clinton and Vice President Gore. On the market for nearly $6 million, it's not exactly a steal. So imagine real estate agent Jordan Feinberg's surprise when he learned someone had moved into the vacant property.
The owner calls me again and says, the neighbor called, there are people inside the house claiming they own the house. And I'm like, what?
Lamont Butler, a.k.a. Lamont Maurice L., claimed the mansion for himself. He even provided documents issued by the so-called Moorish National Republic to back it up.
It's a burglary in the purest sense.
Across the country, Butler and many other self-styled Moorish nationals have laid claim to property and status they say is lawfully theirs because their ancestors were here first. In Memphis, Tennessee, Tabitha Gentry staked a claim on this $3 million foreclosed home using heavy chains. Charged with trespassing, burglary, and theft, Gentry, who prefers the name Abka Ray Bey, says as a citizen of the Moorish American National Republic, that land is her land. And this man was arrested by police in Fayetteville, North Carolina, for interfering with a stolen car investigation. But his wife claims the arrest was illegal because he is a member of the Moorish nation.
He has diplomatic immunity. Why are y'all doing this?
Moors trace their beliefs to Noble Drew Ali, who founded the Moorish Science Temple in Chicago in 1925. With tens of thousands of followers, the faith borrows heavily from Islam. It also teaches that all black Americans are Moorish Americans, descendants of an ancient Moroccan global empire, an idea some followers have taken one step further.
So you don't have to get a license plate or a driver's license. You can lay claim to property.
Spencer Dew, who studies the movement, says Moorish Americans have long taken pride in being American citizens, but as the group splintered over the decades, some offshoots abandoned that view.
But I also think we have some opportunistic individuals, some sort of lone wolf elements.
Jeff Fort is perhaps the most notorious movement member. The former leader of a violent Chicago street gang, he was convicted in 1987 of conspiring with Libya's Gaddafi regime to blow up U.S. government buildings.
It's kind of a public relations nightmare. The vast majority of Moorish communities in America are not involved in any of this sovereign citizen ideology, not involved in fraudulent behavior, not involved in criminal acts.
As for Butler, he eventually abandoned the Bethesda mansion, but he still faces charges of burglary, theft, and fraud. He's currently out on bond.
Now, you see how the Caucasian uses his media, television, to slant views on any of the black man's movements. I don't care if you're in favor of it or if you're not in favor of it. Uh, the Caucasian slants the views of the majority of the people, especially the black man. So most black people, you know, they are ignorant to their ancestors, to Noble Drew Ali, to Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Clarence X. These black people. I ain't worried about the white people. Because I'm the type of guy, I don't care what white people think. But the Moors care what the white people think. You know, I don't know if Noble Drew Ali co-signed what white people think. But I know that Noble Drew got his title, Noble, from the Europeans, the Caucasian Europeans. But he got some of his education from them too also. But still he came back to lift his people to a higher level. But as always, something happened to him. He was murdered or assassinated. And the Moors, you know, they don't have no institutions, just like the Nation of Islam. Now, the Nation of Islam got institutions because they got the national headquarters and they got the paper, the Final Call, and the Muhammad Speaks was before that. But it seems to be that Minister Farrakhan cares about Caucasians, and he cares what they, you know, how they think about him. And, you know, he using the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to further his cause. The teachings of Elijah Muhammad attracts the people, and then they think Minister Farrakhan represents all the believers that follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But that's how he get them. That's the sugar to get them into the trap. Then now he's into Scientology. When he opens up his speeches and lectures now, he don't even open like he used to, in the name of Allah. And then he said, I can never give enough thanks for the coming of Master Farad Muhammad. And then he lifts up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now we got splinter groups in the Nation of Islam, because that Caucasian was whispering in them brothers' ear, just like Othello with the Moors. How that white woman, if you ever see that play, how the Caucasian got up into Othello's head. And that's what's happening now. Now, I'm saying this because this is strategy to fight the power. And Moors need to unite. And the Moors, you know, they got plenty of lawyers. And we need an army of lawyers, not with just the Moors. Because you got Malik Zulu Shabazz of the Black Panthers. And then you got Ava Muhammad with Minister Farrakhan. But we might not want to use them, but I'm just using their names to illustrate, that Malik Zulu Shabazz and Ava Muhammad, they're actually in the mix of the Caucasian. So how they gonna be helpful, I don't know. But I went online to see how many lawyers, black lawyers, it is for reparations. Now, some kind of way we're gonna have to come to a common grounds if we're gonna unite. The Moors ideology is different from the Nation of Islam and from some other black organizations. But they fighting the same fight. We all fighting the same fight. Now we're gonna have to come to some common grounds. In the next couple of videos, we're going to talk about strategy to fight the power. It's Black Light saying stay tuned.